Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sewing some vinyl strikes for backstitch print, part of the Chinese New Year special retail that's going to happen soon. I don't have a date yet, so be sure to follow the backstitch group for any specifics. It will be linked in the description below. I'm also testing a couple of new products for Wizardry that she will be posting soon. They're double-sided tape, and of course you'll see some classic Wizardry pretties in the sew today. I'm doing the Joey UNI Sex Tote. If you're a Friends lover like I am, you'll know exactly the episode and what reference is this. Oh my god, okay. I love Friends, just in case you haven't noticed yet. I have done one before and I absolutely loved it. I've done one in a Harry Potter vinyl and adored it. I took it to Universal, to the park, and loved it. It was super practical, it was comfortable to wear, it fit everything I needed in it. I did have to check it in before doing some of the rides, like put it in those free cubbies, because they only allow stuff without clasps, without swivel clasps on rides, and this one will have it, but it's not a big deal. It's a super amazing bag. It's a rather large crossbody, larger than the little ones that I usually make, but it came together easily, so I figured since I'm going to do another one, I might as well tape it, and if any of you want to see it, it will be here on my channel for as long as I have it. Alright, so if this is something you're interested in or something you would like to do, keep watching and let's get started. Let's get started by stitching the zipper pocket. The bag features a zipper pocket on the front as well as a slip pocket. So it's two pockets on the front, very cool. So you should have, I tried to gather all the pieces I need for this step because I've already made the mistakes twice. So I'm trying to do my best to explain this to you, the steps, so you don't get the pieces confused. And I've actually cut the lining different colors, hopefully help someone not do the mistakes that I've made twice. So you should have your contrast A and contrast B. You should have your zipper, the one that's 14 inches, if it's the zipper by the yard. I'm using the Wizardry pink with that iridescent coil, which is probably one of my favorite pinks that I have, and of course with the doll whip pull, because look at all the snacks. I'm using I have my pocket, front pocket from the main stack snacks, and then for linings I have 3 lining pieces. Two, the green ones, are the back panel pocket panel back lining, so the bigger ones. These two have the same shape, so you can easily get them confused if you don't write on the back, hence why I wrote on the back and I still made a mistake. So now I write on the back and I made them different colors, so maybe we won't make the mistake again. And then you need a pocket panel lining, which is the pink one. So let's start by creating the zipper. For the zipper you have your 2 zipper ends, 2 main and 2 lining. The pattern follows a 1/2 inch seam allowance, so we'll start by placing the zipper sandwiched in between the 2 right sides together of your zipper ends. You will notice that I did not interface any of my pattern pieces. I have not interfaced my lining because I'm using waterproof canvas, and I also didn't interface my vinyl because I'm using the backstitch vinyl, which is thick enough on its own, and 2, because I've done this bag before with just vinyl not interfaced, and I absolutely love the feel of it. It was pliable, it was soft, like I didn't want it as like a super hard bag, and it was just perfect. And I saved so much time and money by not interfacing the pieces right now. But again, I'm using custom vinyl, and the best quality custom vinyl I've ever used. It's thick and it's beautiful, and I'm using waterproof lining, waterproof canvases lining. So if you're using cotton, quilting cotton, definitely interface as per the pattern. Okay, I top stitched the ends. So now I will triple check the pattern. I don't want to make yet another mistake. So this is my zipper part. We will start by adding the contrast piece A, which is the thinner one, to the main pocket panel. If you're using directional fabric, again, make sure that it goes in the correct direction. Right sides together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Another reason why I did an interface is because at one point I will have so many layers of vinyl to sew through, and I didn't want to add extra bulk. Okay, so the panel piece is added. I'm going to top stitch now with the seam allowance going up, and I'm top stitching 1/8 inch away from the edge, and again the seam allowance goes up. Let's grab now the zipper panel, like the zipper with the zipper ends, and place it right sides together, like so. And I'm stitching this with I think I'm doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. I think the pattern requires 3/8 inch, so do your best, they're similar enough. And this is, after this step is when I usually start to make the mistakes with the lining, so hopefully this time it will be correct. And I do think I cut my zipper tabs a little bit too big, because I have some overhang here. Oh well, again, like I said, I don't strive for perfection. It's as long as it's cute, it works for me. Okay, so with this added, I'm going to take the pocket back lining, which in my case is the green, and place it the right sides together. Can you see how I wrote in sort of cursive and then bold? This is, I'm telling you, this is a proof of my frustration after having made mistakes twice with the linings. And it's me not paying attention to the pattern. It's like, come on, read what you wrote, read the pattern. No. So you can tell my frustrations when I start writing in caps on the back of the pattern pieces. Alright, so this, the back lining, pocket panel back lining, goes on top of what we've just creating, with, matching the raw. So this pocket, the first one that we're using is a little longer, and the pattern does state to trim 1/2 inch. So basically we're matching the bottom. So I'm just matching the bottom here, and then I'm gonna trim afterwards the excess. So right now, I'll let me trim right now. So the top of one of them is 1/2 inch bigger. That is probably done this way so you don't have to have yet another pattern piece different than the other two, which I can appreciate given all the mistake I've made. Alright, so now you have your zipper right side down. If you care how the zipper closes and opens, make sure you follow the instruction in the pattern. I don't really care, so mine is just randomly placed, the zipper pull. So right now we're going to stitch at the top along the previous stitching line. And again, this is the panel pocket back line that I removed 1/2 inch from the top. Okay, I'll remove my zipper pull. All right. So now I'm flipping the lining down, and I'm going to top stitch the seam allowance down. So from the front it will look like this, from the back it will look like this. I'm going to go ahead and top stitch this. Like I say in all the videos, I do need to add my disclaimer. I am not a professional bag maker. I'm an amateur. I like to sew for myself. I don't sew to sell. So my videos are never meant to replace any of the designers' videos. So most of the pattern designers do include videos with their patterns. So make sure that you follow those as well. Mine is basically showing you that you can do it as a non-pro. It's also an opportunity for me to chat with you and for you to see how mistakes can be fixed. Because as much as I try not to make mistakes on my video, they happen and I don't always edit them out. Alrighty, let's move on to the top, and we're going to use panel contrast B, and that is the wider one. I'm going to place it right sides together with the zipper. Panel and stitch. I'm probably going to focus more on creating this pocket than on anything else on this video, because this is where I made mistakes. So I want to avoid any of you making the same ones. The rest of the pattern, there's all one more step that I wanted to clarify very well. Other than that, it's pretty easy and straightforward. and techniques we've already done in other videos. So this is the way it looks right now. From the outside you have your pocket, your contrast A, contrast B. From the inside you have right side of one of the back lining, zipper and contrast B. So now lay your pattern like this, your piece like this, with the lining up and the wrong side of the zipper, and place, and this is one of the steps I made mistakes before, and place your pocket panel back lining, the other green one, so the second one, these are two in the pattern, like so, right sides together with the lining, and go ahead and stitch at the top, following the stitch line that you just did a few seconds ago. I hope using these colors and various prints will make it easier for you to stitch this. Perfect. So now you basically created the zipper pocket here. You have your zipper pocket nicely finished. You don't see anything, any linings or anything like that, and the front zipper pocket has a green lining. So right now we will be creating the outside pocket, the slip pocket, by placing the lining that we have. This is the pocket lining, and you have in the pattern you have 3 of these cut, so you're taking just one and you're using it for the outside, and we're going to stitch with a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top of contrast B piece. And it will come together really nicely, magically, just like the slacks. Double check if I top stitch anything. I do. Okay, so now when you open it up, you should have pocket, contrast A, zipper, contrast B, right side of the lining. So let me top stitch the seam allowance towards the lining. Towards the lining, right? No, not towards the lining. Towards the contrast. Okay, good thing I double checked. So this seam allowance gets top stitched towards the vinyl. We'll do that now. So this is how your big butterfly looks like now. Doesn't it look like a butterfly? Like this would be a butterfly? No, just me. Alright, so you're gonna bring your lining, the pink one, to match the bottom of the green one and the panel. And you're going to pin it in place. Everything should be matching beautifully now. And it's the first time it does, and I've made this bag before. I've made the bag once, but the mistake twice. I'm special like that. Alright, so now we want to press looks like if I match it there, it's not enough up here. Okay, so you want to go ahead and stitch down your oh, it's very little here at the top, I remember. You want to press it like so. So it's basically just a ½ an inch left. Very little, or a little over ½ an inch left. And I'm going to top stitch along the zipper. Okay, so now you need to slide, and I think I'm going to slide that in before I go ahead and top stitch the top part. So now you need to slide in your little, there is a Peltex or Decoville heavy panel piece that's called the pocket zipper. It's very thin, it's 3/8 of an inch thin. So you need to slide that in right here. And do the best that you can. Again, it's easier with woven than it is. I might skip it. I might skip it because I don't want to waste my time. So basically what you do is slide this in. Oh, it worked better from the other side. Slide this in all the way. It just reinforces that that area. But because I'm using vinyl, I'm not too worried about it. So either do your best to slide it in. Another option that you could use would be to place it in first and then do your top stitching. I'll just skip it because I'm using vinyl, so I'm not worried about having a thick and sturdy top. This backstitch prints vinyl.
Didn't get that. Could you try?
No, I wasn't talking to you, Siri. This backstitch prints vinyl is very thick and sturdy, so I'm not concerned with that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and top stitch here. And we have almost finished the front pocket. We just need to add the snap. Let me go grab a snap. So I grabbed my snaps. I'm using the Wizardry thin but very strong snaps. And for this part, we will be adding the male snap piece. So let me grab a little Decoville heavy scrap to put on the back. So I measured 8 1/4 inches from the bottom, and I'm going to use the washer to mark where I need to do the snaps, the little snips. Where is my seam ripper? So using the seam ripper, I'll just put through what it is, the vinyl and the lining, I'll put two little holes. And because I have no interfacing here, I'm going to do the same thing on a piece of Decovil Heavy. You can fuse that in. Just adding extra strength. Okay. And through the front, I will put the male part of the snap. And then add this to the back. I cut it a little too big. Just for extra strength. And then, oh, don't forget your washers. Place your washer and just fold it towards the two sides. There you go. Fold it back and you have your beautiful rainbow magnetic strap. So I'm gonna go ahead now and do a little basting stitch all around to hold everything in place. So I'm ready to add it. It doesn't have to be perfect, this is just a basting stitch. So now I'm not worried about anything flying off. Beautiful. Zipper pocket. So now let's add this to the main pocket, the main piece of the bag. So this is the pocket. Take one of the two main pieces. There they are. They're the biggest pattern pieces you have. This one. So you should have two identical. And we're going to add first the female part of the snap. Talk about all the snacks here. Ooh. Let me see the other one to see if it matches the print better. They're identical, so I'm trying to figure out which one to add. This one or the other one. I'll do this one. Okay, so let's add the female part of the snap, and we're going to add that one 8 1/4 inches up from here. I already have the center marking line from when I do my cutting of the vinyl. And again, fuse a piece of fleece or Peltex or something to reinforce it, especially since mine has no interfacing whatsoever. So I'm marking the two lines. like so. And using my seam ripper, just do a little slit, small, not too big. Okay, so we're going to work from the right side now. Place your female magnetic the sketchy style of this print makes it hard for me to see what I did the slits. Okay, and then this one here, and then don't forget your washer. There you go. So your magnetic piece is in. Just snap this in place. Is it too low? I'm just going to remove a little bit of the bottom of the pocket. Alrighty, so let me baste this in place, and we have finished the front of the bag. Well, the front pocket of the bag. Then we'll be working on creating those beautiful handles. This is going to be a pretty long tutorial, so I'll try to focus only on the unusual parts, like parts that are not in all the bags we make. Go slow when you have all those layers. And I'll remove any excess from the bottom here. That's not a problem. Okay, so this is your front pocket, and this is your zipper pocket. Super practical. I've been using these pockets a lot at the park for phones and masks and all kinds of stuff. Alright, so next step we'll be creating the handles. Let me grab the pieces for the handles and I'll be right back. We are back. Let's start working on the handles. This bag features some interesting handles on the front, so they're not on the top, they're on the front and the back. Very cute. I like them. I like something that's new and innovative. So to create the handles, you will need two handle facings, which mine are made for the main print. This you won't see, they will be on the back of the handle. And then two handle pieces. These are measurements given in the pattern. And I'm going to use this brand new wizardry that I'm testing right now. It's not for sale yet. I'm testing it right now, but hopefully it will become for sale soon. And this is the 1/2 inch, which is, ooh, this is sticky. So I'm going to place it along one edge. This is sticky, I like this. It's the first time I'm using it, as you can see. So we'll need to fold these right sides together along the edge. You can draw a line down the center. And these are 2 inches. So at the 1 inch mark, I'm going to draw a line. So now I'm removing the paper part of this tape. This 2-inch, half an inch one is perfect for handles and straps, where you have to fold, usually cut at 4 inches and then you fold half an inch towards one side. Ooh, it's sticking really nicely. I am loving it. I love how Wizardry is becoming a one-stop shop for accessories for bag making. Between the thread and the tape and the hardware, I love it. Beautiful. So one handle is done. It sticks very nicely. It doesn't come undone at all. Gorgeous. So one handle. Let's do the same thing for the other one. I'll do my line at the 1-inch mark. And I have put some command hooks. I don't know if you can see them. Some command hooks on my table. Can you see them? This way I hold my my thread there. Not thread. I meant, you know what I mean. My double-sided tape. I feel like it's easier to have access to it than to look for it in drawers and whatnot, because it's something that I use all the time when I make bags. So if it stays on this table, it's perfect. Just an idea. So this tape definitely passed the stickiness tape. We'll see how it passes the sewing test. I want to make sure it doesn't gum up my needles, because that's another very important thing when it comes to double-sided tape. Because I'll sew through it, I need to make sure it doesn't gum up anything. And it's a pretty big roll. So now your handle will be a 1-inch width. Let's do the same thing for the facing. The facing is what's going to be on the back. And I love that the pattern doesn't make you put it all the way in here and create super unnecessary bulk. So the facing pieces are shorter to keep the bulk to a minimum. Have you seen the new Sincerely Jen pattern? She has a new one out. It's called the Rosatron. Let me know if you want to see a video of that one. I don't have it yet, but I'll gladly purchase it and make one of the bags. If you guys want to see it. So same thing, I'm using the 1/2 inch tape. And as you can see, I have not used one single pin. Or, well, I mean clips. You know, when I say pins, I mean clips. It is so windy. Can you hear the wind in the mic? My goodness. My office is at the second floor at my house, and I feel like it's loudest here. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. I'm not living in snow, so I'll take a little wind anytime. Okay, one facing is done. My apologies for this video being long. There's a lot of steps in the pattern, but it's worth it. It's not a quick sew, but it's a beautiful sew and totally worth it. You know, I usually make one and that's it. This is my second one because I loved it, and I loved how practical it was. Alright, so let's add the facing. I'm going to find the center of my strap, of my handle, and the center of my facing, and just put them wrong sides together. So basically I'm matching the, now I have pretty sides on both sides, and I can totally use some double-sided tape while I'm at it in the center. It didn't even occur to me that I can use it again instead of putting pins. All right. Done. So now it stays nicely in place. So this is what you should see from the side. See, it doesn't go all the way, and it's centered. So let's do the same thing. I'm going to add double-sided tape to the back of the, where the seam is on the back. It holds so well. A+ for this tape. It's this vinyl is thick, so it definitely wants to move, and look how well it holds it together. Okay, so again I'm gonna find the center, and I need to find the center here without touching it. I didn't think this one through. I should have marked the center before, because now I don't want the double-sided tape to touch. So maybe mark the centers before you put the double-sided tape. Okay, and match the edges. Yeah. Oh look, you can remove it and reattach it, because my edges were not perfectly matched. Alright, so you have both handles right now. You do need to make a couple of measurements. But before we do that, I will go ahead and stitch all around the handle. So all around the part that we've attached right now, with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Go slow if you've used vinyl. Right now you're stitching through 8 layers, four layers of vinyl. So you want to go slow, or Another way to avoid this bulkiness would be if you're using a domestic machine. Just use the facing with cotton woven instead of vinyl. This way you've reduced some of the bulk. You still have your vinyl handles, but if you used woven, you have less bulk here. Same thing for the other strap, handle, not strap. Alright, now we're going to measure 5 inches in from each side and mark it. So 5 inches in, it's right here, and 5 inches in is right here. So you're going to be approximately a half an inch away from the stitch you just made right now. That's the 5-inch mark. Okay. Grab your 2 main panel pieces right now. I went ahead and interfaced my Peltex, or Decovil Heavy in my case, on the back, an inch down from the top. You do need this stabilizer, so if you hold your bag by the handle, you don't want it tearing into your vinyl or your woven. So add this to your bag. Don't skip it. And let's start with the front first. Grab one of your handles and measure 1 inch down from the top. And this is where you want to add your handle. I will start with one of the edges here. Your handle will right now be longer than the side because you want to create the actual holder part. So on each side, I pinned it in place like so. And now I'm going to stitch from this edge to where I marked my 5-inch, come down and go back like this, like a U. Or like a square if you want to include the side as well. So I go towards the center, pivot at the 5-inch mark, line that I just drew, I'm trying to see if I can get right into that in the seam that I just stitched as best as I can. I'm not stressing over that too much. Okay, and now I'm coming back towards the outside. And this side will be included in the seam allowance, so you don't need to do it, but if you want to, you can. Okay, we'll do the same thing for this side. From the outside towards the 5-inch mark. Pivot. Go back on the other side. And there you have it. Your handle is attached. I'm going to repeat the same steps for the other handle. I'll do that off camera so I eliminate as much as I can from the video. It's already going to be very long. And I'm thinking of adding a rivet or two as well, just for accent. Like 2 rivets here, maybe. So this is how it looks like. The back will be the same, and when on the back you can see we stitched through the Peltex. Okay, let me go ahead and do the back side, and I'll meet you back here for the next steps. Let's create now what is the bottom panel and the base panels. So for this, because I'm using the super thick vinyl, I interfaced it with the Peltex, or the Decovil Heavy in my case, as instructed. And then I cut a piece of just simple cotton, quilting cotton woven to line this one instead of doing 2 vinyls, because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to turn them properly. So I'm going to stitch these right sides together. All around. And now I'm going to clip the corners, so when I turn it, the corners are nice and crisp. That's why I didn't want to use 2 layers of vinyl right now. You can also trim your seam allowance down a little bit. And yes, I should probably use bigger scissors for this. Okay, so now in the woven part, go ahead and do a slit in the center. And you'll use this to turn your fabric. Don't worry about that because you won't see it. It's going to be stitched on the bottom of the bag. And a little turner thingy. See, I didn't want this to be 2 layers of vinyl right now, so I wasn't able to turn it pretty. And this vinyl is thick enough that I really don't need 2 layers of vinyl right now on the bottom. Alright, if you can give it a good press, go ahead and give it a good press. This will become your bottom. For now, let's set that aside. We're working next with the base, and because mine is a directional print, I'm going to place it like this. So it's like mirror images, right sides together. And so this is the base panel with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. If you use a directional print, make sure you do the same thing. Otherwise, on one of your sides of the bag, you'll have your directional print upside down. Open the seam allowance, the 1/2 inch seam allowance, open it on each side and top stitch along. I like to top stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance now. Here. On both sides of that seam. And I'll show you after how it looks like. Okay, and same thing on the other side of the seam. Have a 1/4 inch from the center seam, and we're catching the seam allowance. Okay, so this is your bottom base. This will be up on the sides of the bag. That's why I wanted to make sure that the print is correctly placed. Now you want to center this, and the pattern does give you the measurements where to mark, where to put it. Give me 1 second. And that is 3 from the top and 3 3/8 from the sides. So 3 inches from the top. This is my 3-inch ruler. And 3 3/8 on each side. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is where one of the corners will be. 1, 2, 3. And this is where the other corner will be. And the other corner. And the other corner. I'll go ahead and press this a little bit from the wrong side, from the cotton side, like so, to see if I can get it to stay in place. Or maybe I can just do it with my fingers when I stitch. I just don't want the lining to be seen on the outside. Okay, so why don't I use a little bit of my tape? Okay, let me just put some of this good tape here. And I'm using again the 1/2 inch. And I'm placing it right here. Beautiful. This will be my extra helping hand. Wow, the wind is crazy. The wind is unusually loud. Okay, so I'm checking where I did my markings to make sure I put it in the correct spot. as best as you can. Again, do your best. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. So this is how you want to place it. And that tape is definitely heaven sent when I need an extra pair of hands. Totally worth it. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and stitch all around it with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance from the edge. Make sure you backstitch at the beginning and at the end of this stitch, and you are all done. The base and the sides are ready. And we're finally going to start putting the bag together now, so it will take the shape of a bag soon. This is what the back will look like, and this is what the outside would look like. Okay, so take your two main pieces that you have there. So the back will have your handle. You see, I added a rivet on all of them. And the front will have your handle and your pocket. So if you've used a directional print like I have from the bottom, choose however you want it to, because this is a one piece. One half of it will be upside down. Not a big deal because it's on the bottom of the bag, but just pick if you have a preference. So I think I'm going to do this like this. So let me stitch these right sides together along this line. With a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And see now why I didn't want to use all the stabilizer, all the interfacing. Look how many layers of vinyl I'm going through right now, between the pockets and the waterproof canvas. This is thick. So maybe if you're using a domestic machine, mix and match vinyl with cotton woven interfaced with woven interfacing. An industrial doesn't really care for all the layers. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Right now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. Let me see if it top stitches now or in the next step. No, not top stitching now. Oh yes, it does top stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to do that right now, then, before I add it. the other side I meant. You know what I mean. Turning out so pretty. Alright, so let's do the same thing on the other side. Getting the bag and laying it the right sides together and stitching it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. See how big it's starting to look? It's not a small crossbody by any means. But it's not huge, huge, huge. Like, I don't think you can fit a regular size laptop in it. But I mean, what's regular size? 15 inch? 13 inch? That's pretty subjective. Alright. And then again, the same thing, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, top stitching the seam allowance towards the bottom. So let's put together the big origami that is the side seam. So, and this is one that I've made the mistake, or two, a couple of times I've made a mistake with this side seam. So I'm going to do it slowly so you guys can see it, and maybe just skip other parts of the tutorial so it doesn't become super long. I'm placing the side seams together, matching where the handle is. I'm putting a pin. And here at the bottom, my first mistake was to sew all the way down. You don't do that. You make like a little fan here. So you take your seam, your center seam of the base, and you bring it to where the seam is on the where the base meets the main part, and then you fold it and bring it down. I'll come and give you a close-up so you see how it looks like folded. Okay, so this is from the side seam. On the inside, you can see I pressed this open, I pressed this close, wrong sides together, and then flipped it, and now my side seams look like this. I'll show you how it looks like from the inside too, because that could help a little bit. See? So here you see that stitch line, but only half of the base, and you're going to go ahead and stitch on the side with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure that you back stitch at the beginning and at the end, and you go very slow over the parts where you have multiple layers, because this goes from 1 to 4 to 2 to a huge variation in the number of layers. So you want to make sure you go very slow on those parts. And here again you have a lot of seam allowances, so go slow. Oops. See, this is moving from 8 or 12 layers to 4. So be extra careful there. I'll reinforce it right now, coming and stitching from the other side. So now I'm going to come from the other side and reinforce this bump here is where I want to go back on. Sometimes it's easier to come from both sides. Alright, so one side is done. We'll do the same thing on the other side. And then I'll turn the back so I'll show you the origami. Okay, so match the side seams, matching the side handles. Put a clip in it. And then all the way down. And when you get here to the bottom, again, take the center of the bottom, move it towards the edge where the base meets the main, fold it, and then fold the other part again. And I'll show you how it looks like again. From the side, this is what you'll see. And again, stitch it down slowly with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, again you're getting to this bump here. You might need to help your machine a little bit to get over that bump with all the seam allowances in it. For this, one of those jeans jigama or something might help. When you have to move from such huge differences in width. So again, I'm going from the other side just to reinforce that. Alright, so oops, that was my tape. Let's turn this inside out and see that magic origami happening. I love how pliable this vinyl is, and it doesn't crease, and I'm putting it through stuff, as you can see. So pretty. And see, this is what we did when we folded that. We've created this beautiful corner here, and it's already stitched in. Nothing else we need to do to it. See See how pretty it is? So it's starting to look like a bag. The outside definitely looks like a bag. So let's go ahead and create the connectors, the crossbody connector. This is the strap that the handle. See? It goes on the front of the bag, but it looks really pretty. Okay, let's go, because I am like distracted by the beauty. Let's create the connectors. So I need my 2 vinyl connector pieces and my 2 1-inch connector hardware, also from Wizardry. So we'll create the connector the same way we did the handles, and the same way I'll do the straps as well, probably off camera because the video is getting very long. Okay. One side. It wouldn't be an Alex video without dropping all this stuff on the floor with it. So you want to bring the sides towards the center. So you create a 1-inch connector. Slide your connector piece through it and fold it towards the inside like so. And I'm going to add a little bit of sticky tape to hold it in place, because you don't want any raw edges. This will be attached on the outside, so you don't want any raw edges. Let me grab some sticky tape. And place it right here in the center. And this way, see how well it sticks? Look how well it sticks. Okay. Just with the tape. So now you want to, let me just add, for extra security, 2 of these, so I can create the other one the same way. Along the sides. Big thumbs up for this 1/2 inch. It's the 1/2 inch tape I never knew I needed, but it helps so much with these straps, because you need to fold it exactly 1/2 inch, so there's a bigger glue or sticky part that connects to this. So just perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna come with my other piece of sticky tape in the center, slide this in. Again, I'm using directional fabric, so I'm checking to make sure I'm putting it in the right spot, the correct way. And now I'm folding this in here and folding this here as best as I can. Like I said before, if I wanted perfection on my bags, I would buy them from pro bag makers. I have many bag maker friends that would have perfect bags, and I did get them, but I enjoyed the process of making it. So here you go, this is the connector. We're gonna take the bag and we're going to add the connector right here under the handle, so here on the seam. You will be stitching weirdly, but not impossible, because it is added to the outside. So maybe I should add another piece of sticky tape to hold it in place. Let's see if it helps. So on the back I'll do one more piece. Again, I cut too much. Like so on the back. And peel it. My helping hands. And then I'll add it right here. Center it right here. So this is how it will look like. And now we need to stitch it in place as much as you can. Like I'm thinking I'm gonna do, I don't know yet, maybe one horizontal stitch, and maybe add a rivet. I think a rivet would be cute there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 horizontal stitches and add a rivet. Because you need this to hold, like if you're stuffing your bag. So I did these 2 stitches and then I'm going to add a rivet to the center afterwards. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So take my piece and on the back I'll add a little bit of sticky tape. Right here. Okay, and place it right along here. You see, it fits right in between this edge and this edge. And now let's stitch it down. Gorgeous. So the main part of the bag is done. The only thing that I have main fabric to do is my crossbody strap that I will do just like the other crossbody. So stitch, do a center line, fold 2 ways and then fold 1 more time and add the swivel clips. I've done this many times and this video is already getting long, so I will definitely be doing this off camera. And attach it to the sides. Again, I will also link the videos for how to attach rivets. I have one already done if you want to check it out, if you want to add rivets to this. So next we're gonna have to work on the inside of the bag, which has two pockets, a zipper pocket and a welt pocket. We're getting there, one step at a time, but we are getting there. Let's work on the lining right now. So I have one of the main lining piece and the two interior zipper lining panels. I've done the measurements as per the pattern, so I have 1 inch from the top and 1 inch from the side, and then a ½ an inch. I'm matching the raw edge at the bottom, as well as the making sure that it's 3 inches from the top. And it is 3 inches from the top. So perfect. So I'm going to stitch that in place. Right sides together. So one of the main panels and one of the zipper panels, the rectangle pieces. The bag has two pockets on the inside. This is the zipper pocket that we're working on right now, and a slip pocket. And this zipper pocket is also going to help us turn the bag, so you can't really skip it. Alrighty, I'm going to put a slit like right in the middle here, and cut along the through the two layers all the way to making those Y snips all the way to the corner without snipping the stitches. We've done this many times. Okay, let's turn this, the pocket towards the back. Give this a good press if you can, or a finger press if you're using waterproof canvas. Now we're going to come in with the zipper, the one that I'm using for the inside, and place it right there. But before I do that, I want to test out I'm just putting a few clips to make that seam stay nicely. Until I add the zipper. Okay, so this is how it looks like from the front. This is how it looks like from the back. I'm grabbing my zipper tape and I'm going to add the 1/4 inch tape to the sides. You don't want to put clips or pins because it will make the zipper wavy. So this double-sided tape is definitely what you need. And the 1/2 inch was perfect to sew through it. It didn't gum up my needles at all. So let's do the same thing on the other side. And I do believe the 1/4 inch and the 1/2 inch are coming from the same supplier, so they should be just as good. So I'm going to remove just a little bit. On both sides. Okay, and I'm gonna lay my zipper right side down on the back, right here. And I like to check my front to make sure that it is centered. That the zipper coils are centered in the hole. See, right here. So I'm taking this and I'm going to remove the sticky tape as I go. Make sure you have your zipper pull inside. As best as you can. It's an inside pocket, nobody will see it. And I do believe some of the other team members from Wizardry were testing an 1/8 inch tape. So that will be awesome to have as well. I don't have that one, but I will once it's going to be available. Because that would work great for number 3 zippers. Okay. So this is how it looks like on the right side. It's pretty centered, right? So now I'm just gonna go ahead and stitch, and the tape is doing all the holding for me. Oops. Don't ruin the zipper. We're doing the same thing now on the other side. No problem stitching through the zipper tape. None whatsoever. Let me move my zipper pull. And I meant the double-sided tape, not zipper tape. Done. So what you want to do right now, because you'll be flipping the bag through this opening, you want to make sure that your zipper is open. First of all, don't forget to open your zipper. And now we're going to be adding the back of the, if I find it. So right sides together, we're going to be stitching the sides, the top, and the other side, and we'll leave the bottom open and move the main panel away. Of course, you can pin it in place if you want. If you want to do like a memory hem, you can press it 1/2 inch on each side. For when we close the bag at the end. You see, I'm moving away all of this. Back it down. And again, before I reach the bottom, I'm going to simply fold up 1/2 inch, and then on the other side 1/2 inch, like so. See? This will make it easier when we close the bag. Perfect. Again, zipper is open and bottom of the pocket is open. And because I did that, look, when I go to stitch, it's going to be easier to stitch this close. Okay, let's set that aside for now. Take your remaining 2 pocket panel pieces. You're going to sew them right sides together, flip, attach the panel. You're going to sew the base and the side panels exactly the way we did the main part. You're going to sew everything but by on the side panels by doing that little fan origami, like I called it. And then I'll come back here to put it all together. I'll speed this up because it's already getting to be a very long video. So this is what I'm doing right now. The lining is prepped already. Last chapter of this long sew is to create the main zipper. So for the main zipper, the pattern teaches you how to add a zipper end. You can use a pre-made zipper end, one of those, Wizardry sells them, that you put your zipper inside and it's like a pretty metallic zipper end. You can use that. Or I saw somebody in one of the Facebook groups using one of these tags to create a zipper end, and I love that idea, so I said I'm gonna use it for this project. That was genius. I can't remember who I saw because I would have loved to give them credit, but it was in one of the fabric group, either fabric or bag making groups on Facebook. So it's simply a tag. I think this is from Mormino, that says made with magic, and you simply slide it. How genius and how easy that is. Look, you just slide it at the end of the zipper, and it says, if it wants to focus, it says made with magic. Very cute, right? And that was super easy to add, and the rainbow thread shines beautifully there. So done. Now you need to take your 4 zipper panel pieces. I've decided to use the main print for 2 of them, and for the lining I'm using the pink waterproof canvas, and you need to fold each end 1/2 inch and press. Since I can't really press this vinyl, I'm using once again the super awesome 1/2 inch double-sided tape. And this is basically instead of pressing, and it stays perfectly. And because it's 1/2 inch, I just fold it where it ends. I add it to the edge and I fold it where it ends. Okay. And now same thing for the lining. We are almost there, friends. I know this is a longer project. I was debating whether or not to do it on video or just do sew my strikes, but I figured, even though it's a long project and YouTube doesn't really like long projects, I figured I'll do it. Who knows, maybe one of you wants to try this awesome bag. It's totally worth it. So again, this is instead of pressing. If you've used cotton woven for this, you can definitely press your 1/2 inch. Okay. So now take one end of your zipper and you're going to fold it at a 90-degree angle like so. Can you see? This is how I folded the zipper. So that's what you need to do on both sides. I'm gonna do a little stitch in place here, just a little one, just to hold it. You can see the 90-degree angle, and I'm doing the same thing on the other side now. And again, I'll do a little stitch here. So one end, it has the 90-degree angle, and the other end has the zipper end. Okay, so now you want to take your zipper panels. If you're using directional print like I am, make sure that you decide if you want them to be mirrored like this, or you want them to be the way you cut them. It's up to you. I mean, this could have been lining, so it's not a big issue. So you want to attach the zipper away from the edge I'm trying to figure out how far away from the edge. 90-degree angle, let's together. About half an inch, I want to say, away from the edge. So, do I want my zipper like this, facing opposite ways, or do I want it like this? Or do I want it like this and it's actually a continuous image? I think I want it like this. Okay, so now I'm putting my zipper and my lining. You can do it all in one shot if you're comfortable, or you can stitch all the way to the end. Yes, you're stitching all the way to the end. So from one end to the other. Okay, now you're going to take your lining and press it right on top and stitch from one end to the other, and I'm going to stitch over the initial seam, the initial stitch here. And because the zipper is longer, I have my zipper pull out of the way from the beginning because it's on the other end. I never like doing recessed zippers, but I feel like this method is pretty easy. So now I'm just flipping it all like this, and I'm going to top stitch. All around. It doesn't matter that the raw edge is there because that's going to be enclosed in the seam. So I'm just sewing this side so it stays all together. And of course we're going to be repeating the exact same things, same steps on the other side of the zipper tape. So the consensus was that I'm adding it like this or I'm adding it like this. No, like this, because it's continuous. Okay, make sure that they match on this side. And I'm placing it the right sides together. I'm going to stitch. Like so. we've obviously done all the complicated quote-unquote part of the tutorial. So now flip it and top stitch it. Done. So now you want to grab your lining piece. We'll be adding the zipper panel that we just created to the lining piece. So the tutorial does instruct you, once you finish this huge lining piece, to go ahead and cut 2 inches from the top. So you have 2 pieces now. Okay, so you want to take one of your zippers and you'll place it with the right side up, and I'm trying to figure out if it's centered. Yes, it is centered. So if you don't have a certain center marking here, make one. So the center of the zipper panel, okay, and then the center of this. Right. So you want to match the 2 markings that you just made. And I'm going to stitch all in one shot this time around. Okay, so the piece that you just removed, is going to come right back on top. So now the zipper panel is sandwiched in between. So this is what it looks like. And you're going to be stitching that down with 1/4 inch seam allowance. I will top stitch this up, the seam allowance up towards the little panel. And now we'll do the exact same thing on the other side. So let's mark the center here. And bring this right sides together. It's easier if you open the zipper. So right sides together, matching those centers there. Place. And now we're going to add this, the piece that we just cut. Make sure that the long edge is right on top here. And stitch this down with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Top stitch the seam allowance up. And we'll sew the side seams exactly the way we've done for the main part. So I'll probably speed this up. Keep your zipper away from the side seams. You don't want to catch that. You want to pin this in place. Bring this in here. Fold it in an accordion. And stitch it with 1/2 inch seam allowance. It goes very easy when you've done it once already. Right? It's like vroom, 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 you know what to do. So again, I'm folding this in here, bringing it here. And then the rest of the side seam. And we don't have as many layers here, so it definitely goes faster. Beautiful. Let's put the bag together. We have everything we need now. We have the main piece. We have the lining. So I'm going to slide. First I'm going to open this zipper. And then I'm going to slide the bag in the lining. If you have a preference where you want the zipper, I prefer usually my zipper towards the back. So I'm going to slide the back of the bag towards where I have the inside zipper. But it's up to you. So take this and slide it right in. This way the right sides together. As best as you can. Important thing is for the edge, the raw edge at the top to match. So now you're going to make sure that your zipper is open for the pocket, And you're going to go ahead and pin all around the top, like so. Another one bites the dust, matching the side seams. There you go. So now you're going to go ahead and sew all around the top with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Keep your zippers away. Where the handle is, it's gonna try to push you away, so hold it tight there. Okay, we made it back. Stitch, and I will double check that there's nothing I need to fix before I birth the bag. See here, I don't like how wavy it got. I want to fix that. Okay, so just this part here. Yeah, it's where the handle is. The handle was pushing the bag away. So I went a little off with the seam allowance, but I can fix it now. Much better and much straighter. Good. So let's do this. Through the pocket that you left open, bring the whole bag out. I like to start with the main, and that's why you need to use good vinyl. See, because you're pushing and pulling this vinyl in all kinds of directions. So I'm bringing the main part first. Easy, right? Okay, and now I'm going to be pushing the lining down. inside the bag. I'll check all the seams to make sure everything is good, and then I'll close the pocket. Everything seems to be looking good. This is the pocket that we have open. I'll just press it towards the inside. About 1/2 inch, whatever we did as like a memory hem on the sides, remember? All you have left to do right now is top stitch around the top and create your straps, or if you don't want to create a strap, you can use pre-made webbing. Backstitch Print is actually carrying matching webbing, 1-inch webbing, which is an amazing quality. This way you don't have to bother creating the strap if you don't want to. I don't have it yet because Amber didn't have it on hand, but there will be webbing to go with this print. So if you don't want to do a vinyl strap, you want a webbing strap, definitely just cut a piece of webbing that's about 56 inches long. Add your slider and your swivel clip to it and you're all done. It's super easy to just use pre-made webbing. Since I don't have that yet, and I kind of want to wear my bag to Disney very soon, I'm not going to wait on my order for the webbing, so I will create a vinyl strap. So I'm pushing the pocket that I just closed here, and then pushing the lining back inside. This is it. We made it. It's a long process. It was a long bag to make, long time frame wise. So I do thank you for sticking around and sewing one with me, or at least watching me ramble. So I'm gonna go ahead and top stitch like all around here, and then create my strap, and I will show you the final bag in a second. It is finished. Woohoo! We did it. Great job, everyone. Even if you just watched me, I know this was a long video, so thank you for having the patience with me. I really did want to make this one to have it for everyone to see. So this is my Joey UNISEX tote, and this is, it features 2 panels, pockets on the front, a recessed zipper, and a pocket on this side, a zipper pocket on this side. And I went ahead and created my strap from the same waffle vinyl. I did use a Gigantor strap slider from Wizardry. I would not recommend using a regular slider for this vinyl. It's thick and it won't slide. This will slide, see, with the Gigantor. It will not slide with a regular slide. It's too thick. And keep in mind here, where you attach it, you'll be sewing through 8 layers. So if you're using a domestic, I would encourage you to just grab some webbing. It will look the same and it will have the same beautiful effect. or do it with woven, or do the strap with interfaced woven, and it's going to be a lot easier to sew. For an industrial machine, you don't have any issues. Again, this is the Joey Tote from Sincerely Jen. I've used vinyl from Backstitch Prints. This will be for retail very soon. Date will be announced in the Facebook group. All my hardware and zippers and double-sided tape are from Wizardry Stitchery and Crafts. Links to everything that I'm using, including the waterproof canvas and all other goodies, will be in the description of the video. Please subscribe if you have not done so. I will try to have at least one video a week, if not two, going forward, that I will include also outfits and accessories, not just bags. So thank you once again for being here. Thank you for joining me and sewing this amazing tote. And keep creating. I will see you in the next one. Bye!